Hello again everybody. I thought I'd do a quick video this week to show you the winter walk around the top of the hill, which is using the paths that the Woodland Trust installed a couple of years ago, and mean that in the wet and horrible weather in the winter there's always a woodland walk available. So we're at the viewing point of the church to start off with, and we're just looking down at Churchdown and in the distance Gloucestershire Airport and Breedon Hill, and then over in the distance there Cheltenham, Cleve Hill, and around to Leckhampton Hill, and we'll walk this way. If you walk on the viewing point in the winter, just be careful because it can get very, very, very slippy underfoot. It is just grass, and although I know there's been discussion about trying to put a better surface there, it hasn't happened yet. So you can walk up to the church, and there is a path all the way up to the door of the church, which you can see there. Okay, so over in that direction again in the Cotswolds and Leckhampton Hill, and we're going to walk down, and we'll do this walk clockwise. In one of the recent videos we were talking about the grass not being cut in the churchyard. Well, that's actually changed now, and the mowing crew are actually here today. They've got a bit of a job on their hands because for one reason or another it's been left quite late this year, and it's quite hard going for them. There's the sexton's cottage. Okay. So this isn't a very long walk really, but you can mix it up a bit, and you can do just a loop, or you can do figures of 8 and all sorts of things. And if you check out the Our Chosen Hill maps, you'll be able to get a better idea about some of the landmarks and walking between them. Okay, that's the path down there towards the stables, and the old track up to the church, historical track I should say. Okay, if you're looking for a postcode for the car park, there's one. Some very hard work going on over there. So here we are, there's the car park. Very important if you're walking a dog, that there is one of the only dog bins on the hill at the moment. The other one's not far from the green on the lane going down, which is down that way. Okay, and we're walking on. Some great benches there by the reservoir to sit if you want to rest either end of a walk. And obviously if you've walked up from the old elm in Churchdown and the car park in the village, you might need a breather by the time you get up here. That path there leads down to the lower circular walk and Jessie Purnell's Way, and we're going to walk straight through the reservoirs. Up in the distance there you can see the new radio mast. When we were growing up there was just one, the old radio mast, which it's always had the red aviation warning light on it, obviously because of Gloucestershire Airport. Path there going around the reservoir. You might hear us talk about the pines around there. That's a nice walk, but it's not got a hard surface on it. Can have some puddles here, do bear that in mind. So in the winter, if it's been very wet, you might need wellies to get through that a little bit there, but the surface is definitely hard. Coming up around this bend here, this track doesn't quite, but more or less follows the old roadway or trackway that went to Hucklecote from St Bartholomew's, and I'd imagine some of it goes through that part of the reservoir on our right at the moment, but here on the left, that path there through that kissing gate, if you follow that path, that'll take you straight down to the Buckle Gate and the corner of Stump Lane that we looked at on the Enchanted Walk and Bluebell video. Round to the left is the path that goes around the reservoir that you can meet up with the one that we've just come past, and the pines and so on. Okay. If you're walking with dogs up here, or you're just exploring, please bear in mind that there is actually a private house on the left hand side here, and I'm not sure any of us would be feeling too great about people exploring the back garden. If you look on the right hand side there, you can see the buildings around the old radio mast, which there's lots of mobile phone equipment in there. Up ahead, the trees and the bushes have been cleared a bit, so you can actually see the trig point area through the gap there. However, there isn't actually a path through there, so please use the path which comes around the old radio mast and to the field gate here. Okay, so we're gonna go left here, but down that way is the top of Five Ways Meet. To the left, you can't quite see the turn there, but that's the top of Five Ways Meet. Round to the right is another kissing gate, and that's the link path that goes back through to the parish burial ground. And we've just come from there. That's the path back towards the church. Okay, so this is all part of the new paths that the Woodland Trust put in a couple of years ago, and here's some of the fairy doors on the left hand side. And we'll keep going up. And for those of you who can remember, in the winter this used to be bloody awful trying to get up here, and there was one occasion when I personally got stuck at the top and had to contemplate coming back down on my bum. Fortunately I just managed to get down, but it's quite hard going. So here's the trig point. There is a bench, and then there's the orientation board which the Woodland Trust installed. There's 3 of those around the hill, one here, one at the car park, and one at the top of the railway field and bottom of Tinkers Hill. So rather than go back, we'll just take in the view here a little bit, which is pretty amazing, as it is at the church. And then we're going to go down the walk here to the Tumps. Okay, so just a quick look back. And Churchdown Hill's actually got some visiting ravens, and they actually sit on top and roost on the top of the old radio mast, and you will hear them a very specific call when they're there. It's not like a normal crow. The Woodland Trust came up and put a completely new handrail in a few weeks ago. They're very responsive when we let them know that trees have come down or any of the paths have got problems, and we're very grateful for that. Just have a quick look back where we've come. Some of these steps can be a little bit tricky. There are some roots that make up some of the steps, so do be aware that it is a steep set of steps. Here's some of the routes here, look. And even though it is steps and there's gravel in amongst the roots and everything else, you know, it still can be slippy, especially if it's on a very cold day. Yes, I've nearly gone head over heels on one or two occasions when I've been walking. So we're heading down towards the Tumps or Camel's Humps, and in the direction of Hucklecote, and you might just be able to hear the traffic in the distance from the M5, and junction 11A is quite close on this side, and if you walk out onto the Tumps you can get a good view of the junction, and then Hucklecote and Brockwith beyond, and also Cooper's Hill, which is the cheese rolling hill for anybody who's either mad enough to roll cheese or want to go and watch other mad people doing so on a very, very, very steep hill. Okay, so as we get to the bottom of the steps, the path goes around to the right, as do the steps, and this here on the left hand side is the entranceway into the Tumps or Camel's Humps, and it's the border of the Woodland Trust property. I'm just going to have a quick look and see if we can see something special this side. Oh yes, for those of you who are fairy fans, very, very important notice. The reason it's important is because we have the fairy doors all around this area, and if you follow this path down to the left, this path goes straight down to Buscombe Noake, and you'll note that one is the first path where talk about coming up the hill towards the top of the Tumps on that video. That's where we're going, towards the Soldiers Walk and Five Ways Meet, and that's where we've just come from. And that's the Tumps in there. Okay, so this is all got a lovely well blended path that was installed, I believe it was the summer of 2021, and it's settled very quickly, and it just shows what a good thing and positive thing it is having the knowledge of an organisation like the Woodland Trust to do something like this. And you do get deer in these woods around here, so do be careful if you're walking a very quick dog, because they might surprise one of them. On the right there, in the bottom of that tree, is one of the fairy doors. The wildlife is amazing up here, and it's wonderful to hear the bird song, so I'm trying not to talk too much. But if you see anything interesting, special, grabs your attention, please do use our wildlife survey that's available on our website. Very, very easy to complete, and if you could let us know when and where you've seen what you've seen, and perhaps even give us a what 3 words location, that would be really helpful. This is Five Ways Meet. We've just come from the Tumps, and those steps down there go to the second point where you can come up from the lower circular walk, but that path also goes straight down to Zoons Court. Okay, here's Five Ways Meet and the stairs going up, which we just talked about. That's the path that goes through to the link path at the top left there, and then here we have another fairy door. We're going to walk the other way along the Soldiers Walk today. Spring's well and truly going for it now. This bit of path here is over one of the areas that used to be really, really difficult to get through in the winter, and now you can just walk along it without any problem at all. It's fantastic. We've got videos from when the path was installed if you're interested, and can show the difference from what the contractors did when they installed them, and you can sort of see the difference now with the grass claiming up the edges of the paths, and how spectacular it really is to have these paths here. Something wildlifey just zipping into the... There's a squirrel off into the right there. There's a magpie going off the other side. In bluebell season you can often see lots of clumps of bluebells along here, although it's not as good as the bluebell woods. The path itself, the laid path, is the lighter colour to the right. The darker colour to the left will often be pretty difficult to walk on in the winter, and it's just because you often get groups of people rather than people up here on their own like I am today. And we're just coming towards another fairy door. You can just pick it out there at the base of the tree. I believe that's number 4. Have a quick look. And then around the other side, around there, is number 3. And that's where we've just come from. Okay. Now we're going to turn right here and head back towards the graveyards, but just ahead of us and just going around to the left there is the wet steps that was, and the reason it's called the wet steps is because in the winter you basically couldn't walk down there because it was just so wet and so muddy. Even though some steps had been put in a long time ago, each of them was just like a marsh in its own right, and that's all been changed with the work the Woodland Trust has done. And you can walk down to the bottom there and out onto the top of Tinker's Hill, but it's only the steps, and for about 20-30 yards after the steps finish that you can use a hard path in the winter. But in this time of year the walking's good. Okay, so that's where we've come from, and we're heading up the top steps here. Now at the top of the steps there's a little surprise which hasn't made its way onto the maps yet, so do make a note, and that is that we've got a dragon, which the kids will love, even the big ones. So the path is good all the way down here, all the way down to the northwest corner of the parish burial ground, where there's a kissing gate into the Woodland Trust area, and to the left here, and we came up through at the top steps, is the old banks of the, I believe it's an Iron Age fort. So there's been a settlement on this hill historically. Interesting history about that, I should think. Just like this this gap down to the left here, this is one of the old entranceways, and it's called the Roman Steps down there. Unfortunately there's nothing to see, but that's one of the old entranceways into what was the old fort area. You can see the way the area banks up if you look around. And we're going to carry on this way. So there ahead is the Woodland Trust Kissing Gate. Just have a quick look where we've come from. Right. And as you look at the northwest gate to the burial ground, over in the distance there is the main gate at the opposite corner, and that will take you into the church car park. And I'm not going to film in the burial ground today because there's actually some people in there and I don't want to disturb them. Up in the right hand corner, that goes through to the link path where we were looking at the other end and the other kissing gate. And then at this time of year the path is okay to continue around the side of the parish burial ground, and this goes round this path. If you follow it, it goes round firstly to the northeast gate of the parish burial ground, but then on and around to the north gate of the church, and then beyond to the stone steps that go down through the pines and back towards Churchdown village and the green. Okay, I'll end it there, but hopefully that will help, and hopefully you'll enjoy your walk. Thanks for watching.